Bro, it's cracking.
Oh no, that's a bad place to be.
What the?
Get inside, man. That's what's up.
Dude, aliens, what the? Alien, y'all appearing out the sky, what the? Aliens coming from the sky. Look, appearing out the sky for real. What the? Appearing out the sky like it.
I need to see one of these, man. That's what you call a trooper right there.
Tracking the whole significance of certain bloodlines going back into Mesopotamia. We met at sort of a same point, and that was that in Mesopotamia, that all of the Anunnaki were supposed to be reptilian, and that the reptilian biology had blood that was dominated by copper, and that they literally had blue colored blood. We have red because we have an iron dominant blood. So our discussion from his history and my trying to get into it through aliens that have been dominating the earth was that the blue blood reptilians of Mesopotamia led to a group called the Merovingians. And the Merovingians tie later in the timeline directly to France, Germany, and that area of
That's scary. Imagine one of those popping out on you. It looks like a seal.
It's on the dead homie. What? That's on insane crib, cuz. What? Dead homies, bro.
They gonna cut his finger off because of that.
Cut creep for this, you know? Insane, bro. What? No.
That looks painful too.
That's
like that. I don't know if it was actually on Christmas Eve, but it was a Christmas service that week. I went with a neighbor lady friend to church. We went through the service, and then afterwards, my lady friend, an older lady, she went home, and they put me in the car, and we drove up to Mark's house in Box Canyon. I remember being in the house. They had a little birthday cake, because I think it was Mark's birthday, and there was punch and stuff, and he came out of his room dressed in white. He had a white shirt and white slacks. And we drank the punch, and that's when everything went whacked. I remember being extraordinarily dizzy. We put in the back of a car, big car, I think it was like a black Buick, probably about a 50 to 53, somewhere around there as far as I can remember. And we were driven to some place about 20 minutes away. It's hard to know, but I know we were driving out of Box Canyon towards Los Angeles. Mark was in the back seat with me. We were drifting in and out of some sort of drug sleep. And then we went to this place. It was an outdoor place with oak trees in a circle. And I remember that they took Mark. There was 2 women, maybe 3, but they took him, they took his shirt off, and they began to pour some sort of water or oil or something in flowers and rub it all over him. And they had him up against like a wooden slat sort of a thing. I'm not sure what it was. That's the only way I know how to describe it. There was a bonfire off to the left. And someone grabbed me, put a knife in my hand, put their hand around it, and shoved into Mark's chest.
Whoa.
And I remember seeing the look of surprise on his face. Whatever we were on, we couldn't feel anything. All we could do is witness what was going on. We had no control over anything else. And then I was jerked away from there. And they took me to the side and I was about 8 or 9 years old at the time. And I briefly remember them carrying Mark off to the left. I assume they threw him in the fire. There's part of me that has a little flash of that, but it's really hard to go back there and actually visualize that. But that would be their way. That's what they do. And after that, it was just being sick for weeks. I don't remember anything for several weeks after that.
This is a sport out of China. It's called rock counting. And you count the number of rocks that pass underneath you. And this is a competition, all these people. And the person that gets closest to the number wins. And they win a very nice...
Oh, he got skills.
Yo, my boy's a real hustler. He's not playing with you people who lazy as hell. He driving for Uber Eats, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart. He driving for anything you ever heard of. He ain't make a complaint once. He said by any means necessary. Y'all need to follow his suit.
If you enjoy content like this, I put out several videos a week. It'll be amazing if you hit the subscribe button and join me in the next video.
Yes, sir.
Oh, he got his own. You saw that? That shark just came up on him.
And that thing don't let go.
It's like a pit bull. I will walk him out the water. He can't breathe out the water. Yeah, just like that. Get him out of there. Now he let go.
Project
that's terrible.
2045, transferring human consciousness into robots and computers and eventually into synthetic embryos. They want to create and supply the world with affordable Android avatars that will be controlled by a system that links people's brains with computers. We have that now. 2020 to 2025, they would like to create autonomous life support systems which a human brain can be taken out of a body and kept alive while being linked to a robotic avatar. Their hope is that the person whose body is failing can live a full life. 2030 to 2035, a group wishes to create immortality by building a computer model of the brain that allows human consciousness to be transferred into the artificial carrier, giving everyone the possibility of a cybernetic immortality. And by 2045, they would like to have established a new era for humanity in which technological brains and transferred minds can receive new bodies with capabilities that far exceed the abilities of the standard human body. They're talking about avatars.
Man, look at this dude. That's creepy, yo. Why is he all oiled up like that?
Just what in the book of Enoch is this thing? I'm on the island of St. George Island and rode by and saw this Baphomet looking thing. And if you read the sign behind him, it tells you that there are 3 of these on St. George Island. 3 of them are on Quarry Drive, and there's a couple of them somewhere else. But they want you to take a selfie with this thing. I'm not going to do that. And it tells you that he's guarding you from hurricanes. And not me. I'm going to trust in the one true God, Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth. And I just renounce and rebuke this thing in Jesus' name.
You gonna learn a few lessons from us. And I'm gonna be the first one.
What? It's reptilian people, man. Oh my God, look at that time.
Balança, bichinha. Ah, mais de novo, balança agora. Bota a bicha pra balançar. Aí.
Eita, loja que aparece coisa.
Yo, China's on the next level.
Show the view. Show the view.
Oh man, that's gotta hurt. Oh.
Translator glasses?
Yes, you can ask that teacher.
All right, go.
这副眼镜是成都高新区的成都的企业制作的。
Oh, it says sorry it didn't work, bro. Oh!
See what I mean?
What the fuck?
China's on another level.
Hold on, wait. Speak Chinese again.
欢迎来成都。
Hey, sweetie, it's working.
Wow.
Whoa!
Hey, bro.
I speak Chinese.
The moon is fake, but it's real. If moon is ice, it keeps you stuck in this ice wall. Because in reality, it's an ice wall that's keeping us stuck in because the earth is flat. And the moon is the ice wall. It keeps the ice wall solid. And the sun come around, it moves around us in a circle. And that's why it stays solid. And that's why it's cold at night, because of the moon. It's like the ice box. It's kind of like air conditioning for the earth.
So the coldest would come from the moon, and the heat come from the sun. That's what you're saying. That's how the earth cooled.
Yeah, but the sun is also a portal. It's the way out. And a lot of people don't know. The sun is how you get to like the other dimensions. You gotta go through the sun. But the problem is it be burning humans. But that's the way out. I already know. But I can't take my body with me. But that's the way you go when you do life right. You get to go out through the sun. The son of God. Put that together. But you can't go straight through it. But you're burned to death. Because up is down and down is up. If you go down through the ocean, you'll come back up at the sun. That a lot of people don't know. Yeah, everything is underwater. So underwater, they find the oceans underwater. Let me tell you what I mean. They get to the bottom of the ocean, and then they'll find another ocean that you can't go down. You can't drill down it. You can't get down it, because that's where they live, right? That's why my mama, we kind of like stucker. It's kind of like ice, but it's glue, like rubber glue, but it's energy. It's rubber glue energy.
We'll have Nico.
All right. So here's their speed. All right, 4,000 kilometers an hour. Right, kilometer. You see that? Now, guys, you tell me this. All right. You see how fast they're going. Now watch his hands. Watch his hands.
We've got a live view of
watch his hands
crew on the vehicle at this moment, which is really cool.
How are you going to move your hands like that at 5,700 kilometers an hour?
Is this for real or fake?
These people are sealed in a vacuum and immobilized for several hours. It might look like some kind of punishment, but in reality, it's a unique performance art. The model is placed inside a bag, and all the air is removed, leaving only a small tube for breathing, ensuring that the experience remains completely safe.
Welcome to India, motherfuckers. Welcome to India.
Oh.
Enjoy your stay. Yeah, we out of here, boy. Bro, they really just did a drive-by. Like, you can't make...
How do you know when it's demonic activity?
Most of the time for me, whenever I see people that were dealing with demons, sometimes I smell them on them. The smell, the smell would just be a stench on them. Another thing is sometimes people that I know become avoided of me. Whenever they're in need of deliverance, they may start getting distance. Whenever I see them, they can barely look me in the eyes. They become secretive because the devil dwells in secrets. So this person that used to tell me everything, all of a sudden is not telling me anything. Even if they're trying to look at you, their eyes will keep dancing.
Yeah.
Or what have you. I looked at his hands and I said, "You got murder in your hands."
You said it?
Yeah. I told him I was out on a date with the guy, as a matter of fact. And the Lord said, "Tell him that." The
date was over.
It was over. I was like, "Yeah, no, this ain't over." I said, "You got murder in your hands." And he was like, "What?" I said, "I could literally see you hovering over a woman, choking her." And he was like, I never killed anybody. I said, I'm not saying you did it. I'm saying I can see it. I said, you need deliverance. You got murder in your hands. You got murder in your hands. And so sometimes, in most cases, it's going to be Holy Spirit alerting you. Holy Spirit alerting you.
How can we become more sensitive? Like, I guess discernment. Because in scripture it talks about this kind does not come out, but with fasting and prayer. Is fasting the route to greater discernment?
Yes.
My son climbs cell phone towers for a living. Is there anything I can do to help protect? Barefoot grounding would be one, but I hate to tell you, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but son might not live too long. I had a lot of people who've reached out to me who were putting up those towers in 2020 and 2021 with the 5G rollout, Operation Warp Speed, and they are all very sick. They have leukemia, they have illnesses, they are really, really messed up. So my advice, your son gets a different job. And I'm not trying to be, rude about it. I'm just trying to say, for the sake of his health, it's important that he gets a different job. When you look at all the people who work on radios, radar, all of these things, cell phone signals, cell phone towers, they're all sick and they all have health issues, and they can't figure it out until they quit the job, and then all of a sudden they realize that's what was doing. Same with going into the book Dirty Electricity. When the teachers left the areas with the cell phone towers, their illnesses went away. So as soon as all those cell phone towers started rolling out, people's diabetes started going through the roof. And they've known this for a very long period of time because Dr. Samuel actually told everybody about this. But you know what? They don't want to tell anybody that they already knew that.
Oh, shit. All these fires, all these floods. It's like we living in biblical times.
What's faithful?
Sexually monogamous to one woman?
Of course.
Of course? Yeah. Do you think the majority of men are faithful?
I don't want to answer for the majority because I love your boy, but I don't know how he's going to edit it. I never want to seem like I'm the expert. I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, but I know it can be done.
Okay. Well, that's good, especially because you're in like a lot of...
But I think it depends on...
Her?
Yeah.
What?
Her runs the world.
You think a man cheating depends on the woman?
Yeah.
I don't think that at all.
Don't matter what you think. How come you think... Where do you think the phrase happy wife, happy life comes from?
Yeah, but I think men, people that cheat.
No, well, okay, so I think there's three types of cheaters. There's a serial cheater.
Okay.
The James Bond cheater.
Ooh.
And then the guy that's forced to cheat.
Okay, what is a James Bond cheater and how are you forced to cheat?
James Bond cheater is I do everything right. I'm in Rio. I see a little thing. Boom, boom, boom. Nope, nobody sees me. Boom, boom, boom. I come back home to my normal life.
Okay.
All right.
You smooth. You slick with it.
Smooth with it, yeah.
Okay.
The guy that's forced to cheat is I've been on the road in a week and I come here and you be like, I got to do my podcast. That's the first night. I can't. I got to make it like you just 4 or 5 days in a row, you're not taking care of your man, and then he does what he does.
Oh. So then you step out.
And then there's a serial cheater, the guy that just
don't cheat.
Don't whatever. But yes, men can. I think it depends on that. Women run the world. Y'all just don't know it.
So how do we take power in that?
By stop talking shit and just do it.
Huh. But like, what does that look like? Just to
I have no idea.
Oh.
Oh, hell no. Look at this bot trying to get that down. She fishing
for
that. Hell no. She sneaked.
Why would you have that in your house?
All right, you can see that the bathroom is down there at the end of the hallway. The bathroom door is the one that has been slamming itself by apparently unseen forces. I'm going to stand here for a couple minutes. If it happens again, then I'm going to catch it on video. If it doesn't happen again, then I'm going to set my camera down and try to just let it sit there and wait and catch it when it happens. Did you see that? just did it again. I cannot believe I got that on video.
Why are they allowed to do this? It's like we mess our own selves up. We pollute. We put things in our food.
Your will. And your will is God's will. Why? Because God is everything. God is all that is. You are made from God because there is nothing else to make anything from. Thus then, each of you expresses a different perspective of the will of creation. So creation doesn't need to stress or exercise any difference in its will other than the will it has created all of you and all of us and everything in creation already to be. You are already expressing all the different variants, in a sense, of God's will, just to use that term. So it doesn't need to contradict anything because it is everything. And if it wasn't important for you to have your unique perspective, your unique choices, your unique will, believe me, you wouldn't exist because creation does not make mistakes. So if you exist, creation knows you need to exist in order for it to truly be all that is. Without you, it would not be all that is. So your will is God's will. And God's will is yours for yourself. That's what you were created to be, an expression of, in a sense, God's will. To have the experience of being you, uniquely you. And you get to decide how to express that. Because it is your choice. It is your expression. It is your experience. It is your life. That's why you were given that life. That's why you were created, to express your unique perspective so that all that is has all the perspectives it needs to be all that is. Without you, it would collapse into nothing. You are that valuable. You are that worthy. You are that important. And you are that indestructible.
Am I still tripping or is this actually happening?
You actually lose weight eating pasta and bread in Europe, but eating a bowl of pasta and a basket of bread here, and you just feel like you want to go to sleep and you're in a bad mood. But then you go to Italy and you have a fat bowl of pasta and maybe even a glass of wine. You feel amazing. Why is that? Well, because in 1993, the chemical industry convinced the federal government that we needed to spray our entire grain supply with folic acid, all flour, all bread, all pasta, all cereal. Although we don't call it sprayed with folic acid, we call it enriched. So enriched foods are foods that are sprayed with folic acid. Folic acid is a man-made chemical that we make in a laboratory. You cannot find it anywhere on the surface of the earth. It does not exist naturally in Mother Nature. It doesn't sound like a big deal until you realize it's the most prevalent nutrient in the human diet. I'm not saying don't eat grains or rice or pasta or cereals or bread. I'm saying eat the non-enriched versions of those, the organic versions of those.
Sweet. Been living in a field before too long.
How are they just snapping off like that?
Good deal.
Direct answer. Yes, humanity is evolving toward a state similar to the astral plane. The difference is that this will not be a temporary out-of-body experience. It will be a fully integrated way of existence. The boundary between the physical and astral will dissolve. Key differences between the astral plane and humanity's future evolution. 1. The astral plane now, as you know it. A temporary state. Your consciousness leaves the body but returns. Governed by thought, but still influenced by subconscious limitations. Mostly explored during dreams, deep meditation, or psychedelics. Not fully integrated into waking life. 2. Humanity's future evolution, Homo luminous, a permanent state. Not just during sleep or altered states. Conscious control over energy and form. Not a place you visit, but a reality you inhabit. Full realization that time, space, and matter are flexible constructs. What happens to death? Physical death becomes optional. Some will transition beyond form permanently. Some will choose to return, reincarnating into different realities. The astral plane is not a separate world. It is a preview of what is coming. What you access there now will one day be your everyday existence. Humanity is not just evolving, it is remembering. The next stage is not about leaving the body. It is about transforming it. The astral will no longer be beyond you. It will be you.
Wow.
Damn, he look high as hell.
Tell me, Mr. Michael, have you been to Lothair?
No, I haven't.
Please go there.
Where is it?
Lothair is a very, very holy place in South Africa. It is near the border of Swaziland. There is a small copy, a very pathetic looking hill. But wait, that hill shows the truth behind what our people believed in and why they named certain parts of the earth by such weird names. You will see a hill, a rocky copy. The copy is made of granite. And when you stand and you look up at that stage, you are a tall man, but you will see on that copy a thing which the world should know about. A thing of which there are only two in the whole world. You will see, say, a human footprint, deeply fossilized for all eternity, on a little cliff.
Oh, we got skills.
Around the time Paul Walker passed away, there was this director that came onto the scene, and he started making a lot of movies. Okay, I'm gonna just straight up say the movie.
Yeah.
You remember that movie about the child trafficking? Sound of Freedom?
Oh yeah, I talked about that.
Yeah. So that director, right? That director, some people say he's very similar to Paul Walker. He has the same, like, very facial features, eyes, and everything.
So you think he reincarnated?
The theory is, like, he faked his death.
Yeah, substance.
Put out these movies.
Yeah.
I don't know how, like, this is just conspiracy.
Yeah, that's sick.
But it's really interesting just looking at the pictures.
Let me see.
Because people are making these videos comparing Paul Walker to this guy. Look at him. Look at the eyes. Look at the face.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's related. Literally looks like he's related.
Yeah, they look like brothers.
So literally when Paul Walker passed away, the director came on the scene, boom, all these movies started coming out. And he's putting out more like activist type movies. Now check this out. Would he be able to do that as Paul Walker?
Nah, probably not, because that would tarnish his reputation.
Or even put him in danger.
There's no law of physics which says that you cannot live forever. The second law of thermodynamics says that in a closed system, you eventually die. But notice I say closed. If it was open, if you opened the box and energy could come in from the outside, then in principle, you could live forever. Because what is aging? Aging is the buildup of error. So, for example, if you take a look at a car and you ask, where does the car age? The engine. Where is the engine of a cell? The engine of a cell is the mitochondria. That's where you have, quote, moving parts in the buildup of error. So if we could then fix the air buildup in the mitochondria, you would then be able to reverse aging. And that's where quantum computers comes into picture. With quantum computers, we'll be able to isolate the process which makes aging possible. Some animals live forever. Look at the Hydra. You try to destroy it and it regenerates itself. It lives forever. Okay, it's immortal.
They tell me to go get in the customer car and it looked like this. I quit.
Oh, hell no.
I'm not getting in that joint. Hey, yo, they got roaches.
I don't blame you.
Big bro, this is out of order. Comment below what you gonna do if they ask you to get in.
Oh! So I'm like, what? One day I'm watching TV and my wife, Laura, comes downstairs and she looks scared. And she says, Jerry, every time I close my eyes, I see all these dark images and hear all these dark voices. And when I'm pushing the pushchair down the road in the morning, something's trying to make me push the children into the road. So I looked at her and I thought, this sounds nuts. So she phoned her friend that was a priest. So this priest comes around her house, this lady, she's putting crosses up, she's dousing the house and all this stuff. And I'm sat there thinking, this is like something out of the Poltergeist. The next day I go and see a friend of mine. I said, listen, this weird thing happened last night. What do you make of it? He said, you gotta speak to this lady. And this lady showed the past life regression business. I'd never heard of any of this stuff. He said, just call her. So she says, where do you live? And I said, 316 Richmond Road. And that's the only bit of the address I gave her. She said, hold on a minute. And the phone went quiet. And then she said, have you been knocking some walls down? I said, well, we've just rented the place, but the previous owners have clearly built an extension. She goes, yeah, you've got an angry old man in your house. And I'm thinking, an angry old man? This just sounds crazy. I said, okay, well, let's say there is an angry old man. What are we going to do about it? She goes, I'm going to get rid of him for you. I said, brilliant. When can you come round? She goes, well, I don't need to do that. I can do it from here. So I'm thinking, this is just getting crazier and crazier. And I speak to Laura. I said, listen, I've spoke to this lady about what happened last night, and she reckons there's an angry old man in your house. She turned around to me and she goes, yeah, I know. I've seen him.
What? Wow.
Booze is the worst ever. Alcohol is related to something called alcohol. Alcohol is literally an evil spirit. And it gets in your body and they say it changes you and almost possesses you. Literally, they call it a spirit. Alcohol, they say, literally physically lowers your vibrations to a state where you're not like your higher self. So if you believe that we have the ability to be higher vibrating individuals, just meaning good energy, they say alcohol comes that. That's why I don't drink.
From the beginning, there was never any war between the United States and the Soviet Union. It was created by those at the top to fund the New World Order and the New World Order's police force. At the highest levels of all countries, they all belong to the same club. And we, the people, sit back and we watch this grand drama, which is being played out for our benefit, not theirs. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even have to do any of this. But you see, they just can't come out and destroy all of us because they need slaves. They need people to make their shoes and make their cars and mine the ore. They need worker bees, and that's what we are. In the New World Order, we will be the worker bees, the slaves. Most people are no better than animals who do not have intelligence because they don't use their intelligence. And to these men who control things behind the scenes, you are stakes on the table by choice and consent, and will always be ruled and manipulated and enslaved by people who do use their brains.
Just like the reptilians and other beings around the universe, there are some good ones and some not so good ones.
What made them go extinct, I guess, back in the day?
I wouldn't say they've ever been extinct. They just operate on a different frequency band. So we're here, down here in this third dimensional space. We've got this fourth dimensional space bridge to the fifth dimension. We're operating in this kind of field of experience, and our bodies, you know, they seem solid.
Oh man, that's nasty. Oh. Yeah, close your mouth. Oh my God.
When we delete pictures, where do they go?
Even if you delete the pictures from the recently deleted, where do they go after that? Isn't that concerning?
So I heard this thing, if cats like you,
yeah.
Do you think cats like you, yes or no? Do they come up to you and shit?
Yeah, they do.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Nah, cause
I don't know if they like me, but they come up to me.
So this is like a real superstition that if cats come up to you, it means you're carrying a lot of bad energy. What? So check this out. So ancient Egyptians, they used cats. That's why they always had them around. They used cats because cats, supposedly, they will take bad energy away from you and disperse it. So that's why they come up. They always cuddle next to somebody that's attached to bad energy, negative energy. And who always has cats in folklore? Who? The witches. Because they're dealing with what? They're dealing with all that negative energy. So they have a cat there to take it so it doesn't harm them.
It takes it away.
It takes it away. But let's say they come up to you, that means you have some on you. So they cleanse it and shit, and then you're good to go.
Nah, to be honest, like I believe in that bad juju. Like imagine like because remember last night when our friend picked up a bag off the ground and it had like keys, it had AirPods, and she wanted to take it back to our house.
Yeah, I'm like nah.
The world is going through a huge change right now. And without going into a big, long dissertation, there's something called precession of the equinoxes. And we are now at the end of a very long cycle, a 26,000 year long cycle, and entering a new age, a new cycle. And it's a time, according to certain prophecies, of great troubles, great upheaval, difficult times. Difficult to the point that if humanity doesn't figure it out, we're probably not going to make it. And that's a tough message for people to hear, but it's the truth. And I think if we all just take a step back and think about it, we all know that things are tough right now. So it's time for these truths to come out. It's time for us to identify where the issues are, who it is that's getting in the way, and who we need to. If they won't work with us, then they have to be defeated. Because if we want to go forward into the future, and I think there is a bright future, and there's a lot more going on here, and it involves things like other races, not just on this planet, but on other planets that care deeply for this planet.
You've probably heard that we live in a three-dimensional world. But what if I told you there are 12 dimensions of reality and that your DNA is the key to every single one? Because your DNA, it's not just biology, it's memory, it's a braid of light. And each strand connects you to a higher part of yourself. We have 12 strands of DNA, and we have a version of ourself in each dimension. 12 soul expressions, 12 levels of awareness, 12 doors your spirit already remembers how to walk through. Let me show you how it works. The first 3 strands connect to your 3D self, the version of you rooted in survival, identity, and separation. This is the you that learns through contrast, that wakes up through pain, joy, and everything in between. The 4th strand opens 4D awareness, where your emotions live. Here you start healing old patterns, releasing karmic loops, and remembering that time isn't as linear as it once seemed. The 5th strand activates 5D consciousness. Now your heart leads. You remember love that doesn't control and joy that doesn't require explanation. When the 6th strand comes online, you enter 6D. You begin to see patterns, sacred geometry, light codes, synchronicities. This is where your dream world and waking world start to braid. Strand 7 brings in 7D. You begin feeling your soul group. You may start channeling, receiving glyphs, or remembering things you never learned in this life. The 8th strand, where I am now, connects to 8D. It's the braid of soul resonance and telepathic knowing. Here, you don't just speak truth, you feel it in others. Your presence alone becomes an activation. The 9th strand connects to your 9D self, the version of you that remembers your soul contracts, your mission, and your counterpart. This is where soulmate braids reweave across time. And beyond that, strands 10 through 12 connect you to your template self, your creator self, and eventually your source self. Not above you, but within you. You don't have to chase these versions of you. They're already here. Your DNA is just unlocking the doorway to meet them. So no, you're not just a body. You're a dimensional chorus in human form, and strand by strand, you're remembering the song. Would you like me to turn this into a visual?
Kobe's mother and father just sold his NBA championship ring. They just sold it. Why? Because they need capital to live. They're elders. They need some money. From what I've heard, Vanessa Bryant ain't giving them a dime. Kobe Bryant left her almost $1 billion, and you mean to tell me that you don't have enough decency, enough respect to float Kobe Bryant's mother and father $1 million? Even if it's one time, Art. Even if it's one time. I don't really like y'all. I don't really mess with y'all. Y'all son told me not to be bothered with y'all, but because you are his parents, because he would have never existed without you, because if y'all don't give birth to Kobe Bryant, he never becomes my husband. I'm never in this financial position. Because of that, let me give you $1 million. Let me throw him $5 million. I'm not giving you no more, but I'm going to give you $5 million, but you can't come back again. Can we agree on that? Can we sign a non-disclosure? I'm going to give you this $5 million, but y'all can't come back. Fine. Give us the $5 million. She won't even throw them $1.
And that's because Kobe Bryant's parents didn't want him to be with that lady, but he chose her over his parents. But anyway, let me know what you think about these videos. Put a timestamp in the bottom and put it in the comments section. Until next time, this is CYPTV and I'm out.